The sun rose today over Sri Lanka, which is 15% more expensive for the men and women who feed it. From the rice bowl to the peta market, the latest fuel hike is sending a ripple of anxiety across the island. Is this a bitter pill for economy health, or a policy-driven poverty that the country simply cannot endure? Hello and welcome to Infofeed. Sri Lanka is at a crossroads once again. This morning, the Ministry of Power and Energy announced a significant upward revision in fuel prices, sending a ripple of anxiety from the bustling streets of Colombo to the quiet paddy fields of Anuradhapura. While the government points to fluctuating global oil prices and the need to maintain the cost-reflective pricing formula mandated by the IMF, the man on the ground sees a different reality. For the Sri Lankan farmer, this isn't just a change in digits on a billboard. It is a direct tax on his survival. As diesel prices climb, so does the cost of tilling, harvesting, and transporting the very food that sits on your table. The sun rose today over Sri Lanka, and it feels a little more expensive than it did yesterday. The latest price hike has hit diesel the hardest, and in an agrarian economy, diesel is the lifeblood of the soil. When the price of a liter goes up, the tractor doesn't just slow down. It becomes a luxury. Farmers across the island are reporting that their production costs have jumped by nearly 15% overnight, a staggering blow for a community still reeling from the fertilizer crisis of years past. The timing of this hike couldn't be more precise or more painful. It hits just as the Yala season begins, the critical mid-year harvest where water pumps and tractors are non-negotiable. Why now? The government points to a double whammy: a weakening rope against the surging global oil market and the strict IMF mandate to eliminate all energy subsidies by mid-2026. Why is this happening now? The government argues that without these hikes, the state-run Steel and Petroleum Corporation will bleed dry, risking a return to the dark days of 2022's fuel queues. The solutions taken so far? To prevent a total standstill, the administration has expanded the national fuel pass quota for registered tractors and introduced a fuel interest fertilizer to fuel credit line through state banks. But is a loan the answer to a price hike? While these measures keep the wheel turning for now, they don't lower the cost of the final harvest. The impact is immediate and visible. At the local level, the cost of renting a harvester has surged, leaving a small-scale farmers with a choice: go into debt or let the crop rot. Compare this to last year, when a brief period of stability gave the rice bowl of the nation a glimmer of hope. That hope is now being drained by the fuel nozzle. But is the burden being shared equally? While urban commuters might cut back on a weekend drive, a farmer cannot cut back on water pumps or transport. This creates a selective inflation where those furthest from the capital pay the highest price for the nation's recovery. The contrast between the macroeconomic victory of IMF targets and the microeconomic defeat of the rural worker has never been sharper. The ripple effect doesn't stop at a farm gate. As transport costs rise, the price of vegetables in the peta market follows suit. A cabbage grown in Nuara Eliya now costs more to reach your kitchen simply because the truck carrying it is thirstier for a more expensive fuel. This is the hidden tax on the consumer. If the farmer cannot afford to produce and the consumer cannot afford to buy, where does that leave the food security of 22 million people? Local unions are already calling for a fuel subsidy specifically for the agricultural sector, but the treasuries look tight under the international agreements. This raises a stinging question. Can a nation truly recover if it starves its primary producers in the name of physical discipline? The impact here is a growing sense of policy-driven poverty. International analysts are watching closely, wondering if these price shocks will reignite and the civil unrest that defined the last few years. While the streets are quiet for now, the anger in the fields is loud. The government is betting that the public will accept this bitter pill for long-term health. But for the farmer staring at an empty tank, the long-term is a luxury he simply cannot afford. Now, as we speak, the first protests have begun in the north-central province, not with banners, but with idle machinery. The green revolution is being stalled by a black liquid. This isn't just about fuel, it is about the soul of the Sri Lankan economy. When the cost of production outpaces the value of the harvest, the arithmetic of survival fails. The impact is a compounding debt cycle that threatens to drive the next generation of farmers away from the soil entirely. If the state is saving the bank vault by betting the kitchen table, what happens when there is no one left to produce what goes on it? The contrast between the government digital spreadsheets and the farmers' mud-stained palms is the defining image of 2026. The impact of this hike will be felt in every mill, every market, and every home. It is a taste of resilience that Sri Lanka didn't ask for, but must once again endure. The question remains, how much more can the backbone of the country take before it finally snaps? Sri Lanka's recovery remains fragile, balanced on a tightrope of fuel prices and foreign debt. By raising the cost of energy, the state is effectively baiting the kitchen table to serve the bank vault. It's a high-stakes gamble with no easy winners. As the prices go up, the spirit of the farmer is being tasted like never before.